Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I have the pleasure of introducing fee and issuance to you today. I know many of you have heard about fee and issuance, and some of you probably already have feelings about what it is, the benefits, whether or not it's going to be something that enhances your business. But I am here to generate some excitement about it and to formally introduce it to you so that we can provide information to you regarding what it can do and how our business will be benefited as we implement the module throughout the state. So today the discussion will be broken up into a couple of topics. We will talk a little bit about the module. We will talk about how we have chosen to roll it out or to implement it. We will talk about some of the primary features of the module, how it works, and finally, what the benefits are for the users, you and as well as the state office. To begin with, the fee and issuance module is the last module that the state will roll out as part of the GABR system, which is used to generate or to process certificates and validations for birth, death, marriage, and divorce. It can be used as a tracking tool for all of our customer requests, and it provides excellent reports on transactions, which is one of the features that I personally appreciate the most. The order of implementation. We started the rollout of the implementation in August of 2015. So you're probably saying, well, it's February 2016. Why haven't we started using it? That's because we wanted to be sure that it worked. We wanted to be sure that we understood it. We wanted to be sure that if there were any issues associated with implementing the module, that they were taken care of or dealt with before we rolled it out to the counties. So we've been using it for a while, gradually rolling it out to from one office to another. We started with the lobby, and then we moved on to other operations. And at this point, we are about 70% in use of the module in the state office. So it is now a very appropriate time for us to introduce it to you, because following full implementation in the state office, we will begin to roll it out to all of the county offices. So there will be a select county pilot and there will be a rollout. When I finish my presentation, Gwen will come up and she will speak to you more about what this means for the individual county office users. In the module, there are 4 primary features. They are counter operations, mail fax, online, and accounts receivable. As it relates to the counter, what we're referring to is when your customer comes in, make a request for a birth or a death certificate, etc., you are inputting that information into the fee and issuance module. A little bit of difference from what you're doing now, in that, at least in the state office, primarily when we processed orders prior to implementation, we were only capturing information on the registrant, the name on the certificate. But with this module, we are also capturing information on the requestor. In addition to that, it also includes information regarding the payment type. How are they paying us today? Is it a check? Is it a credit card? Is it cash? How many copies are they getting, etc.? And of course, the payment instrument depends on the payment instruments acceptable at your particular site. Mail and fax. If you currently have a mail process whereby customers request certificates through the mail, you will be able to process those orders in the fee and issuance module. Some of us use online processes such as Rover or VitalCheck, and there are others. If you use online systems for processing your requests, you will be able to continue using online processes, but you will input the information into the fee and issuance module. So today, again, this is information, not training. Training is how do I? Steps 1, step 2, step 3. This is introducing the conversation, putting out there that the module is about 70% complete in the state office, and following 100% implementation in the state office, we will move forward with the counties. It is to give you an idea of the benefits and the features of the module as it is being implemented or used today. Now, how does it work? As I mentioned, instead of just inputting information on the registrant in Gabbers, you will also include information on the requester, the name of the person there in your office requesting the particular certificate, their address, what is their relationship to the registrant, the name on the certificate, as well as the type of ID that they're using and the ID number if appropriate. Now, much of the information is free-form in that you will type in the person's name, for example, Sheila Pierce. But there are other parts of the information that will give you a drop-down menu to make it easier for you. For example, the ID. There's a drop-down menu for the ID. There's a drop-down menu for the states and other information requested as well, making it easier for you to process your orders. The second part of the process is to enter the information on the registrant. So that pretty much is the same as we're doing now. You always enter the name on the certificate, you would enter the date of the event, and you would also, in a drop-down menu, select the type of event that you're generating a certificate for. And then finally, there is payment information. Again, much of it is dropped down, the payment type, the number of copies, and in this module, it will generate the amount to be collected based on the number of copies and the type of transaction you're processing on that day in your office. The final step, if you are processing a birth certificate, will be to scan or to enter the security paper code into the system. What am I referring to there? You all know that on the security paper there is a number at the bottom. That number starts with a C. If it is processed or distributed in the county, it has an S if that piece of paper or the inventory security paper is distributed in the state office. So when you're in fee and issuance, what you will do is you will take a hand barcode scanner such as this, and we do have one for all of the counties when we roll it out. That will be part of the training when that occurs later in the year. What you will do is just put the barcode scanner on that number, and then you will be able to see the number right on the screen as you're processing. Afterwards, you go ahead and complete the process and it closes it. If for some reason you do not have your barcode scanner handy, or if you're not comfortable using it, or if it isn't working that day, you are able to input the number manually. Again, you will see it on the screen, and from there you will be able to close out that transaction and move on. The steps do vary depending on the transaction. Of course, it isn't the same when you're processing a marriage certificate or a different type of request, but generally, we wanted to introduce how the feature works so that you can begin to understand the information that is required and the benefits. So again, what are some of the benefits? We believe timely and accurate reporting on transactions. Excellent for us. Tracking. You will be able to see in the system when you've submitted a request to us for processing, what it is and when, and we will have the same information. Very beneficial. Security paper will be inventory. You might ask, why is that important? Well, we're able to put in threshold limits, which means that when we reach those minimum amounts of paper in our inventory, it will trigger the need to reorder so that we don't run out of paper and are able to supply you with what you need so that your business continues without interruption. Finally, it standardizes the fee structure throughout the state. It's very important for our customers to be able to go into any county in the state and pay the same amount for all of the transactions.
So what does fee look like? All of you are familiar with the Garrett system. And the security processes you probably see is you probably see global, birth and death only. This user has access to all of the modules, fee being one of the focal points. So you'll access it the same way you do when you want to access it for a birth or death. Click on fee. Wrong way. So it's just a brief snapshot of what the fee initiative is about. When you go to fee, you'll go to functions and fee registration, and this is what you will see. You will see new requests, new transaction, and search transactions. What does that mean? New requests are those requests that are starting from the requester standpoint that you're initially putting into the system. New transactions are those that started from the registrant standpoint, along with the number of copies that they're wanting, along with the payment. Search transactions are those that are already in the system, whether you're looking for it from the registrant standpoint or the requesters. You can search either way. And also those that have been completed or still still pending. So if you enter a new request, this is the screen you will see, the new request data entry. As you will see that there are several asterisks by each of some of the screens. Request type, that's whether it was from mail counter, as Sheila told you about, mail counter, accounts receivable, things of that nature. Then the requester's last name is a must. The address, the state and county, state and country, those are some drop-down features that are in the other modules, as well as the ID. There are drop-downs for the ID. There have been numerous of questions about what we accept as far as ID. All of those are listed in the drop-down box, along with the other, because we know there are some others that may come up. What I'm most excited about is the reporting. In the past, we were having to count the widgets manually, but this system generates the reports by request type, whether it was a birth, death, fetal death, marriage, or divorce, or the number of requests that we received, cumulative. I mean, it really works. So the focus point, we're going to focus on two of them, issuance and activity history report and the management and production report. Here's the issuance and activity history report. You can search it, run a report from and to date, your location. As you can see, this user has access to everything, all of the counties, including the state of Georgia. But you will see your county, and then you can generate that report either Excel or PDF. You will click generate. The management report, same concept. The from and to date, your location. But I like this one most because it gives me a report of what my staff is doing by user name.
Are you saying you can go look at any other county and get their...
No, I said you'll see yours.
Okay.
The state can go in and look, but we cannot do any activity on it. Okay. But you will only see yours, and on this report you can see your staff, what your staff is doing, how many requests, how many customers they saw that day, how many births requests there were, how many they issued, the number of copies they issued, so on and so forth. So here's what it looks like once you generate it. This is what it looks like. It gives you the date and time. It gives you the date range that you put in, and the username, and then all of the information that I just stated. So it's a great tool for the state office. As I stated, we were having to count them manually each month to generate the report for our state registrar. So I was so happy when we went fully operational in the front lobby, because that's what I'm responsible for, the front lobby and the search unit, so I can generate reports and not have to stay to 7 o'clock. Any questions? Thank you.
So we believe this is a game changer. Why? Because it helps us to manage our business together. It also helps us to track processing trends, helps to provide data that we can use to forecast our customer needs, And also it helps us to operate our business better, and we're excited about that. With data, we're able to make better decisions. In the past, as Valerie said, manually we were identifying the number of various type of transactions that we were conducting out in the lobby or in our mail or online operation. But, we found that the benefit here is that, yes, it does take a little more time. Yes, it can be a hard product to sell to staff when they have customers in front of them and they're trying to move forward as fast as they can. But the benefit to us, the leaders, the managers of the process, is that you have really good information about what is going on in your organization. And for us, that has been very beneficial. So what we found is that as our employees continue to use the module and not vacillate and go back and forth, there are a lot of people in front of me today, can we please revert back to the system that we used before? The answer is no. Stick with it, move forward, and it has gotten better. Our production numbers are much better. They're not where they used to be. For example, on average, we see 220 plus customers a day at the state office. I think our processing time was 8, 10, 12 minutes on average for a customer to come in, get a certificate, and out the door. Well, with fee and issuance and all of the information that we're collecting and the wonderful reports that we're able to generate afterwards, we've probably increased that time to maybe 12 to 14 minutes. And on heavy days, really depends on the type of customer transactions that are needed in the lobby. So if you have a lot of changes and amendments, that does take longer than generating certificates. But on average, it is only added a few more minutes. So the confidence in the staff use of the product builds up with more use of it. The reports are wonderful that are generated behind it. And I'm here to tell you that someone responsible for the operations trying to beat production numbers and to do a good job, it was a hard sell for me to accept. When I first came to Vital Records in September 2014, first project I was given was to implement fee and issuance. And I thought it was a hard sell then, and I knew nothing about Vital Records. But I am here to say that if you bite the bullet, if you accept the product, if you use it, it is very, very, very beneficial. And our employees are even saying to us now, we're so glad you pushed us to use the product because they too can see the benefit. The tracking, the information that's provided behind the data that is entered is very beneficial to all of us. So that's my plug for generating some excitement about fee and issuance. I'm looking at faces and they're saying this woman is crazy, but I'm not. It is a good product.
Good morning. Good morning. I am Gwen Duffin, and I'm the Deputy Director for the Records Management Department, and I have the responsibility for rolling out fee and issuance to all of you wonderful people at the counties. So I want to share some information with you about what we intend to do in terms of our county rollout. And first of all, I want to share with you the value of the fee and issuance modules to the counties. And then I'm going to share with you what our tactical plan is, because we had to put together a project plan to be able to roll this out to 159 counties. It's not a small feat by any stretch of the imagination. And then we'll talk a little bit about the pilot sites that we've identified. So in terms of benefits to the counties, efficiency, and I'll go into more detail about that, but efficiency, fraud prevention, tracking amendments, and I can tell you when we were at Gwinnett County yesterday, one of the ladies came up to me afterwards and she said, you had me when you said tracking amendments. She said, because that's one of the issues that I have is tracking amendments that I send down to the state office. And then transparency. So I'll talk a little bit more about that. Now in terms of our efficiency, the written logs, all of those written logs that you have right now, you've got written logs for your voids, you've got written logs for your certificate numbers, all of that will go away because all of your information is going to be in the system. You can run a report and you'll be able to find all of that information in your system for you. Tracking your inventory of your certificate numbers and your voids. Sheila showed you the scanner. You'll just scan that information and everything will be right there in the system for you. It'll be captured with your barcode scanner. Fraud prevention. So that barcode scanner is going to have all of your information in the system. Once you scan it, all of that information is going to show up on the screen for that individual. So you will know that Gwen Duffin came in and she got 2 copies of Jordan's my son, Jordan's birth certificates. And you'll be able to see all of that information in the system. You'll be able to run a report and you'll know what was issued. So what happens with us a lot is we'll get a call maybe from another state that says, I've got a birth certificate here and something looks kind of funny about it. Can you verify that information for us? Well, if this was done in the fee and issuance module, we can look in the system and we can say, yep, that was issued to Gwen Duffin. We issued 2 birth certificates to her. They can look at the numbers at the bottom and we'll be able to verify that information for them. So it's very useful in terms of fraud prevention for us to be able to go in the system and kind of tell what was issued and what wasn't issued. Beverly's team, and Beverly's here today back there in the back, Beverly's team will actually see those documents in the system. They can review them and you can track it yourself. You can look in the system. You don't have to call us anymore and say, okay, I sent in the amendment information 3 weeks ago or a month ago. What's the status on it? You'll be able to find all of that information there. You can log into fee and issuance. You can track the amendment from the review process till it's worked and until it's been approved. So you'll be able to see the entire process as it goes through. Now, is that useful for you? Yes. Thank you very much. I'm done. I'm good. And then the last thing is transparency. So fee and issuance will direct automatically the $10, and that's the $10 that is for amendments. $10 for amendments. The $25 that you collect, it stays your $25. This is the amendment fee. To roll out to all 159 counties is not necessarily an easy task. However, we are up for the challenge. And I want to tell you a little bit about what we plan on doing and what we've already started doing. We've identified some pilot sites, and actually we have one of our pilot sites here, and that's Judge McCoy, and his team is also going to be one of our pilot sites. But we've got Chatham County, DeKalb County, Cobb County, Evans, and Columbia. And actually Gwinnett County also has been added to the list. So we've got a... Oh, okay, and Chatham County is here. So it's very important for us to have them as pilot sites because this is how we're going to figure out things like, well, now we've got to add the information into 2 systems, Gwen, that's too much. We had that same problem, you'll recall, when we rolled out the marriage module and you had your own system and we worked through that. I think we worked through, is it the IJT company? CJT company. So we were able to work with them to kind of interface those documents, and that's the same thing we're going to try and do here as we go through our pilot site. So we got that information from Gwinnett County yesterday. That was one of the concerns they had. So we're looking at that already now. But we identified subject matter experts, and what we're doing now is we're training our regional consultants because they'll be the team that's going to go out and actually provide the training to all of our counties. And we're developing our training tools now. We are working on training the trainers, and we're beginning our communications. And actually, this is part of our communication. This is us sharing information with you about the upcoming fee and issuance. Now, Sheila and Val talked to you a lot about what's happening down at the state office. We wanted to roll it out at the state office first, and then roll it out to the counties. Because before we roll it out to you, we need to work out any kinks that we have that we can figure out we've got down at the state office before we roll it out to you. We want it to be right. And that's part of the reason why our pilot is going to last as long as it will. Because we need to make sure that the issues that you all mentioned about double entry, we don't want you to double entry either. So those are some things that we're going to be working on during that pilot season. So that's why it's very important for us to have some of the larger sites as our pilots as well as some of the smaller ones. So you all let us know, you know what, Gwen, this doesn't work for us. We need the system to do this for us. And that gives us an opportunity to work on it for you because we want it to be something that's useful to you because it's got a lot of good tools, as they've already shared with you, that you could use. So that's one of the things that we're going to do. And as far as rolling out to the counties, one of the other things that we're going to do is, with our pilots, we want you to come down to the state office and we're going to actually show you the system. We're going to walk you through fee and issuance. And we need you to share with us at that point, you know what, that doesn't work. It would be better if we were able to do this, or it would be better if we were able to do that. So that's why it's really important that we have that interaction with you. So we'll be inviting you down to the state office prior to go live, so you can share that kind of information with us. We hear what you're saying, and it's important to us that we're able to roll this out and roll it out right, okay? So right now, we've got a June 2016 rollout, and Donna and I have had this conversation, and if we're not ready by June 2016, if we're still working with the pilots, we've got a lot of issues that we still haven't worked out, then we're not going to roll it out in June 2016. We're going to roll it out when we feel like we're ready, and we feel like we've got a good tool for you to use.